Welcome to the County Compass, Columbia County's guide to news, voices, and perspectives, hosted by County Manager Scott Johnson. This podcast is your behind-the-scenes look at what's happening in county government and across our community. We'll talk about the services, projects, and decisions that make Columbia County a great place to live. We're glad you're here. Thanks for listening to the County Compass. Now, here's Scott Johnson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the County Compass, the podcast that keeps you connected to the people, projects, and progress, making Columbia County one of the best places to live, work, and raise a family in Georgia. I'm your host, County Manager Scott Johnson, and this week we have an exciting topic to talk about. I know if you live in this area, you're very familiar with it. It's very near and dear to your heart. But as we look around and we see the azaleas starting to bloom, the eyes of the golf world turn towards Augusta and the surrounding area. So we're talking about something that affects us every spring, the impact of the Masters Golf Tournament here in actually occurs in Augusta, but has a huge impact on Columbia County. And we're just going to talk about the Augusta National Golf Club and the rich history and tradition that they have. And then really I want to talk about the economic boost for the citizens of Columbia County and how that works. And then we're going to give you a few little tidbits on maybe you're doing a short-term rental or you may see a pop-up event. We're going to talk about that, and then always traffic and those sort of things. So we're going to talk about what our team does in Columbia County behind the scenes to make sure that you can navigate the week as smoothly as possible. So whether you're a longtime resident, whether you're new to the area, whether you're listening from afar, we all know that the Masters and the Augusta National Golf Club are just so very special, really to the entire world, but they're extremely special to us here. So let's talk about the foundation a little bit. We're going to start with the Augusta National Golf Club and the Masters Tournament. It's a lot more than just golf. I mean, really, this is a beloved tradition that puts our entire region on the global map. Anywhere you go, and today I'm wearing the logo from the Augusta National, the Masters logo. It's recognizable all over the world. Anytime I travel, people see this logo, they ask about it, just because it is so recognizable. And the Augusta National and its members have done just an outstanding job of promoting not only the game of golf, but really the traditions and everything that surrounds the Masters. And they're a world leader in that and have just done an amazing job there. So the club was founded in 1933. So we all know Columbia County was founded way before that, but the club was founded in 1933 by legendary amateur golfer Bobby Jones, for which Bobby Jones Expressway is named. As part of that is in Columbia County here. And he did that with his partner, who was a banker by the name of Clifford Roberts. They took an old nursery property and they worked with the architect Alistair McKenzie to create one of the most beautiful and challenging courses really in the world. And, you know, it's interesting that we say that it came from a nursery property, because when you step foot on those hallowed grounds of the Augusta National Golf Club, you can tell it was a nursery. I mean, all the holes are named for different trees and plants, and just when you go out there and you see that beauty firsthand, it's just utterly amazing. And just the different types of plants and the different types of colors and the way they do things that only Augusta National could do just makes it so special. For those of you that have only seen it on TV and you know how beautiful it is on TV, I promise you it's even more beautiful in person. So hopefully you'll get the chance one day to visit if you haven't already, to take in this amazing tournament here. The first Masters originally was called the Augusta National Invitation Tournament, and it was held in 1934, shortly after the club opened. And does anybody know who won the first event? A little trivia question. I'll pause for a second. A gentleman by the name of Horton Smith won the very first, what we now call the Masters, which was the Augusta Invitational back in 1934. So over the decades, the tournament has really earned its place as one of golf's 4 major championships. It's known for its traditions. We all know about the green jacket and what that means for the winner to be able to don that green jacket on the Sunday afternoon after the final round. We know about the par 3 contest and how iconic that is, and a lot of times the players will have their families out there. I never forget the Jack Nicklaus was playing in the par 3 tournament one year, and his son actually took a shot for him and got a hole in one. It was just an amazing time for him to experience that and do that. It might have been his grandson that did that, but I know that Jack Nicklaus has always had family with him at the par 3 tournament. But anyway, what an amazing time to see that. Again, those traditions. And then, when you go out there and you look at those azaleas I talked about, and the beautiful pine trees, I'm born and raised here in Georgia, and pines are part of my DNA, I guess. And I've seen millions of pine trees in my life, but there's just something special about the pine trees at the Augusta National and the way they do everything they do there. It just makes it just really, really, really nice. And, this time of year, they open up their club to the entire world. Normally the club's private, so you can't just go out there, check it out, walk around, do whatever, and we certainly respect that from a private club. But during the first full week of April every year, they put themselves on the world stage for everybody to come out and take a look at it. And there's tens of thousands of patrons and media and visitors that will descend on the Augusta National every April. And the excitement and the activity doesn't stop at the county line. We have lots of things happening here in Columbia County during what we refer to as Masters Week. I know a lot of residents here have prepared their homes for rentals. That's a huge influx to our economy. Our restaurants are all getting ready. Everybody's getting ready for this tournament. So we're super excited about that. A lot of people choose to stay in Columbia County, and we're going to talk about what that takes and what we have to do to kind of get ready for that. And then also the restaurants and the pop-up events and all of those things happen really all over our community here. So just our proximity to Augusta and to the Augusta National really creates some real opportunities for us. But it also, creates some temporary pressures as well. So one of the clearest positives, I guess, that we can talk about is the economic lift and the economic boom. Outside of the Augusta National being extremely charitable and philanthropic, they provide a huge boost to our economy every year. And I think that I heard an estimate one time that it was in the range of over $100 million for that single week, just in economic impact to our area. And that spending goes into the lodging, the dining, the shopping, transportation, all those things. So Columbia County captures a meaningful part of those dollars, thanks to our location. Really, everybody benefits. Everybody in the area benefits, but I think Columbia County does very well. Local hotels and accommodations, they're always near full capacity, if not full capacity. Restaurants along the major corridors, they say this is some of their busiest times of the year. I was talking to a restaurant owner in Columbia County a week or so ago, and he was talking about really what the tournament does to his business and how he prepares all year long for this, that he will do enough revenue in a single week to be able to carry him through the summer months where it's much slower here when a lot of people are on vacation and they're not eating out, not going to restaurants as much, because we're not really a tourist destination, although we have some great things for you to do in Columbia County. If you are not from here and you want a vacation and you want to come check it out, I'm sure we have lots of things that we could show you and you could come visit. But most of the time our restaurants are slow in the summertime, so they really depend on this revenue that they produce during tournament week to be able to carry them through the summer. And then, another big thing is the short-term rental thing. There's a rule, it's called the Augusta Rule. I've heard it referred to as other things. But essentially there is a rule in the IRS code that allows you to rent your primary home for, I believe it's less than 14 days, tax-free. So a lot of people in Columbia County are preparing their homes and getting ready for the tournament to hit, and they'll be leaving. They'll be vacationing or going somewhere or staying with friends or family, like I'll be doing. I'll be staying with family, but you prepare your home. And when I say prepare your home, think about this. cleaning every crack, every crevice, making sure your landscape is completely perfect, putting out bales and bales of pine straw. I'm saying all this thing from experience because this is exactly what I've been doing for the last several weekends. My wife and I start preparing our home usually in January for our master's guest, and it's a great opportunity to be able to do that. But really, probably the best thing about it is once the tournament's over and we get to come back home, we get to come back home to a home that is completely clean. Everything is so well taken care of. And everything's manicured, and then you kind of get yourself ready for summer. So new plants planted, that kind of thing. So it's always cool. But anyway, a lot of people in Columbia County benefit from that. I do want to remind people that there is a short-term lodging tax. So if you rent your home through an agency, that's the way the law is written. If you rent it through an agency, then you are supposed to collect that short-term lodging tax. And that helps Columbia County. That hotel motel tax, actually, that's not something that goes into the general fund in Columbia County. That is actually used to help promote further visits to Columbia County and events in Columbia County and those sort of things. So if you're using a platform, like Airbnb or VRBO, or you're working through one of the major companies that does rentals here, we just want to remind you to make sure that you register and collect that tax and then remit that tax to the county. It's a really simple form process that on our website that you can go look at, and it tells you how to do all that. We also encourage responsible hosting, so that neighborhoods stay peaceful and respectful for everyone. I know a lot of people, when they get out of town, they want to let their hair down and have a good time, and we understand that. We want you to do that here in Columbia County, but we want to make sure that everyone stays safe and everybody stays respectful to their neighbors. Hopefully they can keep it down in the later hours. But it's really a great opportunity when done right. So overall, it helps support, like I said, it supports businesses, but it also creates a lot of local jobs. And it keeps dollars circulating in our county, which benefits our residents all year long. Of course, the more visitors that come to the county, the more traffic that we get. We are a little bit on the periphery, so we're a little bit outside of the area right around the Augusta National. So the traffic doesn't back up to us. And let me just go ahead and say the Augusta National and its partners at Augusta-Richmond County do an amazing job of traffic and parking. And if you're coming into town, make sure that you tune in to our local radio station, WGAC. I believe they do live traffic updates on WGAC still. So you can tune in and hear that. That's 580 AM, 95.1 FM. Shout out to our partners and friends at WGAC. Listen to that on the way in. Don't follow Waze. Don't follow your Google Maps and all that. When you get close, make sure that you are listening to the radio and you follow the signs, because they do an amazing job. Just like everything at the Augusta National is always done perfectly, traffic is as well. So as long as we do our part of kind of following the rules and getting there. But in Columbia County, we'll have that as well. We'll have some traffic. Really on I-20 and our corridors, Washington Road, Riverwatch Parkway. We'll have to, or we have already done some preparation for that. Our traffic engineering team and our public works team have been working diligently for the last several weeks, if not months, getting everything ready for the influx, and then also working with our partners at DOT. I think we'll have a pretty seamless plan. We'll monitor volumes of traffic in real time. If you watch one of our recent podcasts or listen to one of our recent podcasts, you know about our Traffic Control Center and the Intelligent Traffic Network in Columbia County. Richmond County has something similar to that. So we'll do our best to coordinate with them and the State Department of Transportation to move the traffic smoothly through our area. We'll make sure that we adjust the signals when possible, and we'll provide clear signage and alerts. But just make sure that you expect the heavier traffic next Masters Week because you're definitely going to have it. So here's some practical tips for residents. Most of you already, if you've been around a long time, you know this, but we're just going to go ahead and throw them out there. Make sure you plan your commute for a little extra time, especially if you're going anywhere around the national or the tournament. Make sure you want to do that. Use alternate routes. Most of us know our way around Columbia County, so we can kind of go a back way or something like that. And, again, we don't get a tremendous amount of backup, but there are some times and hours of the day that we may see a little more traffic. And then, if you're hosting visitors, make sure you kind of share those tips with them as well. I think it's just a good opportunity. Safety remains our top priority in Columbia County. We're going to make the roads as safe as we can, and we're going to keep traffic moving, but we also want to keep our neighborhoods protected. Our construction projects will be paused. Most of our projects will be paused for next week. We do that on a pretty regular basis anytime we know that this is coming. This is just to reduce any added friction that we may have. We just know with the extra influx, with the traffic and the stop and go and the slowdowns, it just doesn't work. So we try to minimize the disruption to daily life as much as we can. But if you see any issues or you have any concerns, just use any of our non-emergency channels. You can call 311 if you're actually physically located in Columbia County, or you can call the Sheriff's Office non-emergency number, 706-541-2800. If you see anything, you can report things or whatever. Another aspect that we manage in the county is the increase in pop-up activities. So one of the things that I have to do as the county manager is I approve temporary alcohol licenses. So typically this time of year, you have a lot of people from out of town that may not have an alcohol license in Columbia County. So they have to apply for a temporary license, and there's a process by which they do that, and the state does it as well. I would say that by the time you're hearing this podcast, if you have not applied, it is too late. We probably can't get it done for you in time because there is a process there. But just know, those of you that are going to these events or seeing these events, just know that we're managing those. Some other events may require some county permits. Those people have come in and they've gotten the proper permits, hopefully. We have had a few over the years that have popped up, and then we'd have to send code enforcement out to make sure that they were in compliance with our local laws and zoning laws and those sort of things. But we're going to do everything we can to make sure that everybody has everything they need to be able to have a successful week. If you're planning on hosting a large gathering, or you're going to be doing food vending or catering or any of those things, you have a temporary structure that you need to put on your property, you can always reach out to us, our development services team, or anybody in our business licensing department that can help you with those things. We also see an uptick in demand for services Masters Week. You'd think it'd be the opposite with a lot of people leaving town, but really we have the same or more that are coming back in, and they're not from here. So a lot of times we'll see an uptick in emergency services. We may see an uptick in calls or complaints. Just know that our departments are all staffed and ready, but resident cooperation makes a huge difference. Make sure that you observe proper parking. If your neighborhood you have narrow streets, and a lot of our neighborhoods have narrow streets, and people are parking on both sides of the road, just consider what it takes to get a fire truck through there. So maybe take that into consideration before you park like that, before you park on a neighbor's lawn, or before you pull into a property that's not yours. Just be respectful when it comes to those kind of things. Make sure you also respect the quiet hours. We want everybody to have a good time, want everybody to enjoy the week, but we do have to sleep at some point, and so I hope everybody would respect those quiet hours as well. And then keeping everything clean. Just kind of respect your neighbors and respect the property, and keep Columbia County as clean as possible. We have gone to great strides to make sure that our community is cleaned up before we put it on the world stage to showcase it. So we ask you to help us with that. So the goal here really is balance, supporting the excitement and the economic benefits while protecting the quality of life that makes Columbia County such a great place to call home. So we would ask everybody to kind of participate in that and help us with that balance. To wrap this up, the Masters Tournament is a point of pride for our region. It's global attention. We've talked about that. The economic opportunity is there. The burst of energy that benefits many Columbia County business and residents. It's just a fun time. And for many of us, it's already started. The Augusta National several years ago rolled out the Augusta National Women's Amateur, held at Champions Retreat here in Columbia County. So that actually occurs the week prior to Masters. So that is going on as we film and record this episode. So a lot of excitement there. And then the kids get to come in this weekend. The final round of the women's AM will be the weekend before the Masters. And then on the Sunday before Masters practice rounds start, you'll have the drive, chip, and putt. And what an amazing time that is. And this year, it's even more special because of the Augusta National's investment in the community and what they've done at what we call the Patch. They have the Augusta Municipal Golf Course. They have turned that course into something truly amazing, and I think it's really going to pay huge dividends for the community, but really for the kids as they prepare this open public municipal golf course that has now been renovated really to Augusta National standards. Absolutely beautiful. So if you don't have the opportunity to go play the Augusta National, I would invite you to Augusta. Go to what we call the Patch and play the Augusta Municipal Golf Course. The grass is beautiful. The bunkers are beautiful. The pine trees are beautiful. If the Augusta National has their name on anything, it's going to be absolutely first class. It's always going to be done exactly right, and the Patch is no different. So just enjoy that if you have the opportunity to do that. Quick tips, again, as we kind of wrap this up. Support your local restaurants and shops during Masters Week. We love the chain restaurants here in Columbia County, so definitely use those. But if you have the opportunity to go to something off the beaten path or more what we call the mom and pop or the small businesses, they are all excited to welcome you here. So make sure that you visit them if you can. If you're renting your home, make sure you follow the lodging tax requirements and be a good neighbor. We talked about that. Build in the extra time to drive around the county. And then I'll obviously report any concerns that you may have so we can address those for you. Columbia County continues to invest in infrastructure and strong regional partnerships. So what we're trying to do is just maximizing the positives here and then keeping the disruptions minimal if we can. And events like this remind us why so many people choose to live and work and raise their families here in Columbia County. So if you are a regular listener to the County Compass, you know that we always end with the most ridiculous thing we've heard lately. And this week, I'm actually going to skip that. I'm not going to give you anything ridiculous. I've heard a lot. Believe me, I have a lot of ridiculous things we can talk about, but I'm not going to do it this week, and I'm not going to do it in honor of Masters Week and us being on the world stage, and we are going to put our best foot forward, so we're not going to have anything negative, nothing ridiculous, all positive this week. And just want to also let you know that next week, many of our staff will be in and out of the office a pretty good bit. So we will probably take 1 week off of the podcast, but we will be right back ready to go. And we have some exciting things to talk about. Now that the legislative session is over, we've got some exciting things to talk about there, about tax relief and some of the things our legislators did. And then we've got some exciting projects coming to Columbia County that we'll be able to talk about right after this week. So, make sure you listen, and we're not going away. We're going to skip 1 week, and when I come back, I promise to go back to the most ridiculous thing I've heard. But again, this week, we're keeping it positive. We are all going into Masters Week excited about the week, and I hope everybody that's here and part of the tournament or people that are traveling, I hope you have a great week. So thank you for listening to this episode of County Compass. If you ever have any questions about county services or impacts or anything else, reach out to us via our website, call the office, through our social media channels. But this is going to wrap us up for this episode of the County Compass. If you enjoyed it, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Leave us a review. If you have ideas for future show topics, make sure you drop those as well. But more importantly, thank you for tuning in and being engaged and a part of Columbia County. Your input and participation makes our county much stronger. Y'all take care.
This has been the County Compass, Columbia County's guide to news, voices, and perspectives. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you taking the time to stay informed about the issues, initiatives, and people impacting our community. And we sincerely hope today's conversation helps you better understand the work being done in Columbia County. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. As always, visit Columbia County's official website or social media channels for additional information. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.